almost for 1 week in Italy. We're at the river Arno here in Firenze, and I'm gonna do a challenge, and that is I'm going to spend an entire week in Italy without paying for accommodation, or try to not pay for accommodation in my entire stay in Italy, and sleeping in bushes like a true hobo, so doing it hobo style. And I hope that will save a couple of $100. I'm gonna take you with me, and we're going to wing it and see where I'll be able to sleep. So yeah, grab your popcorn, grab your shit, whatever you need to enjoy this video, and let's get started. Let's roll the clip, man. Yeah, I've arrived now in Pisa. Gonna get some food and then I'm gonna look for a spot to stash my shit. Okay, screw going to Pisa. Fuck going to Pisa. I'm going to Livorno. I just took the train to Livorno train station from Pisa. Grabbed something to eat from the supermarket, and I'm going to find a place to camp. I just scoped out some ground here. And I said I scoped out this piece of wood, but as you can see, it's just an impregnable wall of shrubs. So I'm kind of fucked right here, and it's all private property I've seen, and it's all camera, security cameras all around, so this really wasn't a good idea. So I have to backtrack again, go another route, and I thought it was going to be woods, like in Belgium, you know? Belgium has woods like the Ardennes forest, but here in Italy, in Livorno, yeah, woods don't exist here. It's just impregnable shrubs. And that's it, so I'm fucked. I don't know where I'm going to camp. Okay, I finally found my camping spot here in Livorno. I'm going to camp right here, which is really not that stealthy at all, but I don't really have a choice because, as you can see, it's you have two choices. You have like shrubs which you can't go through, or you have like open fields with trees that are private property of farmers. So I'm just going to risk it. And I'm going to go, and at 6 a.m. in the morning, I'm going to get the fuck out of here and then hope that no one sees me or catches me. So, okay, I'm just gonna put that there. Yeah, that should do it, I guess. Let's go. Okay, stash my gear right there. You can't see it, so it's easy to remember. It's the fifth tree with the rock at the footpath, pointing straight where my rucksack is, so easy as that. Alright, that was the most uneventful evening in my entire life. I think I walked 40,000 steps. My feet are about to fall off. So I'm gonna get my tent, gonna set it all up, and fucking cars ruining my video, man. And then I hope that I won't be woken up in the middle of the night by an angry Italian farmer, because that would really fuck up my mental sanity. Okay, so I just woken up here in a random field here in Livorno. It's quite idyllic, is how they would describe it, I suppose. But yeah, it was quite warm actually. I just sweated my fucking balls off in there actually. But I'm gonna pack up my shit and then I'm gonna go to the train station. We're gonna go to Genova. Always important to leave no trace. Just don't be a degenerate asshole. Anyway. Okay, I'm in Genoa now. And my train got delayed by 2 hours, so maybe it wasn't the best idea to put faith in the Italian railway system. And as you can see, Genova is like extremely hilly. It's basically one giant hill, so it's going to be quite a challenge to find a camping spot here. But damn, look at that view. And Genova feels more like a mountaineering expedition. I'll have to go all the way up these hills, and I'm going to be knackered, man. I'm shattered already from yesterday's walking, and it doesn't look that steep on the camera because it's wide angle lens, but yeah, and it's probably not good that I'm smoking while I was doing this, but yeah, sort of cancels the negative health effects out, right? Yeah, there are already homeless people living here, so best that I just go a bit out of the city center to stash my gear. So, because I really don't want to get my shit stolen by some fucking junkie. Just jumped on a random bus and it took me to where I wanted to go, so that is quite nice. I didn't even bother paying, because why would I? None of the other Genovese were doing that, but there is a bit of a problem, like I said, because Genova is just a giant hill. Yeah, it's been built. Yeah, it's a harbor city. It's been built on in like a valley, I suppose. But there's a problem because the edge of the city where I would camp is just it's just one giant fucking hill. So that is a bit of a problem. Like, where am I gonna find flatlands? Okay, I think no one saw me. I'm just going to climb this mountain, and I think I'm just going to like bivouac on this path, because it's the only flat bit of ground. Okay, after climbing a bit for like 20 minutes straight, I have finally found the only piece of flat ground in Genova in this entire bloody how do you call it, man? I'm fucking tired, man. Whose idea was it to build a giant city in the middle of a mountain range? So, piece of flat ground, I'm gonna just put my tent right there and have a fantastic view when I wake up. God damn it. Oh, god damn it, I'm gonna fucking fall on my ass. Oh, okay, there's my pack. Okay. Okay, that should do it. Okay, plan B. I looked back at that hiding spot and I thought it was really shit, so found a new one. That's me doing my Catholic duty. I'm in the Palazzo Reale, and a detail I really like is the veins in his arms. The sculptor sculpted those veins. It really makes you think, like, the inequality back in the day was really quite high in comparison to now. You see a lot of people complaining, oh, we have it so bad, the world is so unequal. Look at this, man. Look at this. This is billionaire status, man. Yeah, I think it's way better right now. But anyway, you can see like the Genovese harbor. On the streets of Genoa. I just picked up some food, because that's way cheaper. Go to the Carrefour Express. And now I'm going to go back into the nature reserve. There is no artificial lighting there, so why it's not a straight like jump cross, how the fuck do you call it, man? Fuck. Like jump cuts to the morning. Well, because when I just laid in my tent, I was nearly attacked by a wild boar. It was like 15 meters from my tent. So I decided to get the fuck out of there. It's 1 a.m. already and I don't know if I can get a hotel. And I know I'm turning my back on the homeless life, on the hobo life, but man, Genova is impossible to wild camp, man. The hills are like infested with wild boar, because I laid down and there were 2 wild boar surrounding my tent, and yeah, it's really dangerous if you don't know wild boar. If you startle them and they get backed into a corner, they can attack you, and I don't want to get attacked when I'm laying in a bloody tent in a sleeping bag, because then I'm defenseless, and they can easily like kill you with their tusks if they want to. So yeah, the hills of Genova are like infested by wild boar apparently, so I'm just gonna cut my losses, admit defeat with the tail in between my legs. Fuck, man. And I'm so tired, it's 1 a.m. I need to get up early for that train. hopefully I can find a hostel. Otherwise, I'm just gonna have to stay awake till my train comes at the station. Yeah. Fuck. These are the hallways of defeat. But you know, sometimes shit doesn't work out, so. I've arrived at Turin. I'm going to take my shit, find a place to stash all my shit. Hopefully I don't have to buy a fucking hostel because Genova got 40 years out of me. But I think Torino is a good place to camp. Okay, I'm in the outskirts of Torino right now, looking for a place to stash all my shit, which is quite a challenge, but not as challenging as Genova, I must admit. First impressions of Torino. Well, it's very aesthetic. that is for sure. On the Po River you have a park right there that looks quite nice. It looks quite livable as well, and it's actually the only Italian city so far that I would consider like living in full time. Like Genova, I would never do that. It's just way too, how do you say it, busy. I'm Belgian, so naturally I like more boring and uninteresting living standards. You really have that influence of that French architecture here, which I quite like. I like the look of that. And yeah, Genova is also quite nice, but one pro tip to the city council is please give out some hunting permits so you can shoot all the boars, so people like me don't have to pay $40 for a hostel. That would be nice. Shit, I think I said yesterday that Genova had steep hills, but Torino also has those steep inclines. But I finally found a spot where I can stash my stuff, which is quite nice. Okay, I found a place to stash my stuff up the road. I'm just going to grab it and like throw it right there. Normally that should be enough, but like so. That should be enough. No one should spot that. Should there are people? Okay, hopefully they haven't spotted me. I'm being so careful right now. But the thing I noticed about this area in Italy, Piemonte, Torino, is that like the people here, they look, how do I put it? They look more like they belong to the upper echelons of society. So that's why I'm wearing this shirt. Oh, quite fancy, I know, to fit in with the Turin population. So the probability of my shit getting stolen is quite low. Just as I was leaving my bag there, apparently there were two ladies cleaning that part of the woods. So yeah, I don't know. I trust them. I just said like, hey, I'm just gonna leave my pack here, and they said I don't give a shit. Yeah, they said we don't really care for your backpack full of smelly clothing, which is quite understandable. Just got some sushi, but I guess there are worse ways to spend a Friday afternoon, right? But maybe look at it, maybe make it look a little bit like Brussels, a little bit of Brussels charm. I was thinking about putting a couple drug dealers right there, maybe two guys with AKs right over there, like the constant pressure of being robbed. That would be nice. Okay, right now I'm visiting the Regia Venaria in Turin. I really want to visit this, but because apparently the European Union heavily financed this restoration project with hundreds of millions of euros from the EU. So it's been restored by the European Union. Yeah, and I want to see if my tax money has been well spent. Well, it's better than Brussels anyway. So yeah, but that's not so difficult because what isn't better than Brussels? So. That's quite lovely, isn't it? Yeah, study real estate probably would make like 20,000 accommodations in here. We'll sell it for maximum price. There's a problem. The camp spot that I scoped out is way too far from the city center, so I can't get there. So I'll have to improvise. Also because I can't find any hostels. They're all sold out. So it's going to be a rough night, that's for sure. Or I just have to stay awake all night. That's also an option. We'll see. That was Torino. Very interesting city. Right now I'm going to go to my spot. I'm really, really tired. And it's a really risky spot as well, and a dirty bush. So I hope that I don't get caught. Good morning from Torino. I just wake up here in my tent. I just slept here in this random bush. The smelliest bush, I mean, in Torino, because it smells like fucking piss in here. Okay, but it's nice because I had a camp spot scoped out on Google Maps, but it was way too far from the city center, and I have the constant problem that I need to catch a train in the morning. This time at 8:30 in the morning, so I have this constant problem pressure of not being able to camp far outside the city. I always have to be in a 4-kilometer radius around the train station. But luckily I was able to find the spot last minute. I just dunked my tent here, and right now I'm just gonna pack up my shit and let's get the fuck out of this piss shithole. I'm still fucking pissed off that I just had to sleep in a bush where people shit in, man. That was fucking uncomfortable. But I couldn't find anything else, man. So I just hope I don't get sick, because why would you even shit in a bush in a city? Why? What savage would do something like that? You can just go to a cafe and buy a coffee for like €1.20 here and take a shit right there. At least I had 6 hours of sleep. I didn't have to pay €60 for a hostel here, so, and pretty bad hostels here as well. So that is nice. Another €60 saved from my bank accounts. And yeah, Turin was nice, I do suppose. I didn't get to see much of it because I didn't have much time. I should take more days here actually. But yeah, it looks cool. Okay, arrived in Milan. I'm gonna get my shit and get to my camp spot that I spotted on Google Maps. So I have to take metro and then get to my camp spot. Alright, I'm in the outskirts of Milan. In God knows where I am, but there is industry here. I've scoped out some woods on Google Maps, and that is where I'm headed right now. But it's quite far away from the city center because Milan is quite dangerous actually at night. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I hope no one lives there or something like that. Like no homeless guy lives there, because that would really suck. Alright, I found a forest on the outskirts of Milan that doesn't smell like shit, which is quite nice in comparison to Torino. What a luxury. So it's like a nature reserve here, and it doesn't look ghetto at all. You have a nice field out there. Quite nice. So I'm just gonna put my stuff right there. I'm not gonna even cover it up because I don't really need to. It's behind that tree. Okay, I'm walking along this field with a bit of a problem. Just as I was about to exit the woods in a different direction, I spotted not a huge, but like people they were like camping in the woods. They had like barbecues and stuff. I don't want to change my spot right now. In the evening, I'm just gonna go down. I'm just gonna grab my shit, and then I'm gonna go down the spot, and I'm just gonna go camp on the edge of this field right here. Yeah, I don't think that could go wrong, but I just don't want to get spotted by like those homeless. Yeah, they're not homeless. They're like traveler, gypsy people or something. Italian version of it. Yeah, they're just camping in the middle of the woods, barbecuing and stuff like that with plastic chairs and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't think they're gonna do me wrong or something, but I'm not in the mood of getting bothered. Okay, I just took my pack again because yeah, those people are really like living there long term. I think that's why these woods are so goddamn filthy, man. There's, yeah, not trash everywhere, but there's a considerable amount of trash, which is, yeah, it's not nice. You should care about nature, leave no trace, care about the forest, be environmental friendly, man. But yeah, those people don't give a fuck about that, unfortunately. A bit degenerate, but yeah, that's just how the world is, right? Now, I'll just get a view on myself. First time this video, and yes, I look quite ridiculous with this improvised improvised head scarf thing, but my head got severely burnt. My scalp is like severely burnt, apparently. Yeah, not apparently, I noticed that. And fortunately, I have brought a handkerchief and one rubber band, and that is actually this thing. And it's holding up quite nice because my head is not being burned now. But I think I'm going to set up camp right here. Best camping spot so far, maybe. We'll see how it goes this night. But I want to stay here like 2 nights. That would be nice. So right now I'm going to like stash my shit here. Then I'm gonna go to a train station that will carry me to the center of Milan. Yeah, that's the plan at least. And then I can go back here and sleep here. So, okay, new stashing point. I'm just gonna leave my gear here out in the open on the edge of this field. I just leave it at the edge of the field because in the middle of the night here, it's really easy to get disorientated. And this way I just know, oh yeah, just in the middle of the night I just have to follow the edge of this field here and just look to the left with my torch, and then you can just find my pack, or not, or all my stuff is stolen. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. The Italians really love hang their flag everywhere, but you couldn't do that in Belgium, man. You have the Flemish nationalists, the Belgian nationalists. No, you have the balloon nationalists don't exist. They don't even have right-wing parties. So. But in Belgium it's always the fight between the Flemish nationalists and the Belgian nationalists. So there is no unity, but there is unity in Italy, so that's nice. Here you have some dumb modern art installation that I don't give a shit about. Like, what does that even mean? Like, what is the importance of this? It's a spiraling bookcase, okay. I think it really detracts from the whole experience of the Pinacoteca Librea. Anyway, let's just get inside and see what's all the fuss about, right? There's also, of course, this famous statue of Napoleon that everyone here is looking at. But I think Napoleon is a bit overrated. I think he's quite an asshole, actually. If you look, yeah, okay, he won Battle of Austerlitz and Jena, Auerstadt and stuff like that, but everyone forgets that he got absolutely smashed in Moscow, he got absolutely smashed in Egypt, and had to flee and then do a coup because he was still a general when he was doing his campaign in Egypt. So, yeah, Napoleon, he won some great battles, but he also lost hundreds of thousands of men in Moscow, in Egypt. Yeah, the British let those men return back to France, but that was just luck, right? So Napoleon, a bit of an overrated general, in my opinion. But he's, of course, with the French Revolution is, of course, the basis of our nation state, of our liberal democracy. So he did give us that. So, all right, And the ideas of the French Revolution were also quite nice, in my opinion, better than aristocracy and oppression and stuff like that, and absolute monarchy in that age. So, yeah, Napoleon, quite a polarizing figure. I always find it quite amusing walking around town in my beautiful light blue polo. Very nice. And all these people don't know that I'm actually homeless and living in a tent in a bush with gypsies. Andrea Mantegna's masterpiece. One of the last works by Giovanni Bellini, dated 1510. But what is that green background? I have no idea. Well, portrait painting has to be one of the most boring painting styles in the world. So apparently Milan has become the first European city or something to ban smoking in the entire city, but I really haven't noticed that because I've been smoking unknowingly of this, the entire time. Didn't know this ban was actually in effect, but it's like a rule that no one follows. It's really common here in Italy, so. But I'm going to get a hostel tomorrow. It's also not that big of a price difference actually. In terms of public transport, I have to pay like 10 euros to go back and forth like 2 times a day, so it's like 15 to 20 bucks to go there to that camping spot outside of Milan. That's really important. So, and then I was thinking to myself, like, why not just take a hostel tomorrow, because a hostel is 35 euros, so yeah, I'm not gonna skimp out on 15 euros, right? That would be super dumb. But anyway, tomorrow we're gonna take a hostel, and that will be really comfortable, and I'm gonna feel civilized again, because I'm starting to feel like an animal with 2 days in a row just straight up camping in bushes. But this bush will be great. Also, one thing that I noticed, there is like, people say that there are like the more stereotypical things that differentiate Italians from like tourists, and they're like the most common things of Italians that people say, but in my opinion, the most like telltale sign that someone is from Italy is that they dress like, you see these 2 people right here. Yeah, I heard them talk. They speak Italian. Like, the Italians, they dress like it's winter, and it's I'm here in my polo and my t-shirt. They dress like it's winter when it's 25 degrees out. I'm like, how the hell are these people not like dying of warmth? How are they not sweating themselves to death? Because I see like these old guys, they're like wearing a 3 layers 3-piece suit. They're wearing wool clothing, wool long jackets. I don't know how these people do it, these Italians. So yeah, apparently there's this bull thing on the ground here in the Galleria Victoria Emmanuel II. Damn, that's a mouthful. And if you put your heel in there and you spin 3 times, it's supposed to bring good luck. But yeah, I'm not doing that because I'm an unlucky bastard. So that's also a reason why I never gamble. So yeah, that's the Duomo. There's a shitload of scammers and touts here, so it feels like Paris. I'm clinging on to my belongings for dear life. Back to the train station where I will take a train back to my camp spot. And it's really sketchy. I really hope that my shit isn't stolen, man. Okay, it's at night. I'm going to my camp spot. I'm going to my camp spot through one of the sketchy outskirt neighborhoods of Milan. Well, sketchy. Yeah, I'm used to the suburbs, so everything that doesn't have freestanding houses and the big backyard is sketchy to me. Okay, shit, I thought someone was following me. But apparently not. There was like a group of 5 guys. Let's say guys. Like, let's keep it neutral. 5 guys following me, but that is like my big fear, of course, is of getting robbed here. Because all they have to do is corner me in a street like this. There's no one around. There's literally no one around. Point a knife at me, say, give me all your shit, and then I'm fucked. So that's why I'm very aware of my surroundings. Okay, I just woke up in the middle of this field here in Milan. Yeah, not Milan, but the outskirts of Milan. And I don't know if you can see it, but I have a view on the Alpine mountain range right there. But it's probably too wide angle lens, so you can't see. So a great view, and the sun is shining nice and bright. Oh, this is what I imagined camping in Italy to be like, not like Torino. We went from sleeping in a shit bush to sleeping in a very ideal spot, and actually a perfect camping spot, right? And that's why I always take a tent, as you can see. I don't take a bivvy, never. I was thinking about taking a bivvy with me on this trip actually, because it only weighs like 1 kilogram, and I'm too poor for lightweight tents anyway. So, but I just took a one-person tent right here. It's actually a glorified bivvy because it's not that big inside. But the main advantage is that you have a bug shield. You have an inner and outer tent, and that's just what I prefer anyway. I'm gonna stop rambling. I'm gonna grab my shit, and then I'm gonna go to a hostel because I smell like fucking dog shit, man. Okay, I just packed up all my shit. Let's get the fuck out of here. I did sleep like a rock in there. You can see it's like kind of secluded. I did sleep for like a full 7 hours uninterrupted sleep, man. That was really nice. And I didn't get bothered by those people that I just saw yesterday. It was just completely quiet. Oh no, there were like I think they are Romani gypsies, because I heard like accordion music and violin throughout the night. So that was pretty cool, actually. Pretty cool tunes to fall asleep to. Because of course I play gypsy jazz myself, so I thought that was really cool to like hear it. To hear it in the night, like how you would think they would live. You know what I mean. Okay, I just checked into my hostel. I know it's not the most exciting content. I know everyone wants to see me camping and stuff, but I smelled like shit. I felt really horrible. So that is what I'll be doing. But tomorrow in Bologna I'll find a new spot. And it would be the same spot, so it would be boring anyways. I'm sitting in this park at the moment. And I craved milk for some reason, so I bought milk. And also this thing. It's Arancia rosa, like blood orange. In Dutch it's bloedsinaasappelen. Blood oranges. I don't know how you say it in English. But the juice from it, man, that's so good. I wish they sold it in Belgium. Okay, here at the Castello Sforzesco. I'm probably butchering that name, but I don't really care, to be honest. Over there where it says Mother, you have Michelangelo's last work, La Pietà, to say it, to abbreviate it, right? But it's closed for some reason, so I came all the way to Milan, and I didn't even get to see Michelangelo's last work, which is quite disappointing. Yeah, if you do want to get in this castle, you first, of course, have to go through the wall of touts and people that try to rip you off. Also, yeah, always very welcome indeed, just ignore them. Fruit basket by Caravaggio. So it was the preparational sketch that Ravel did for his fresco, The School of Athens. And obvious figures, of course, you have Plato pointing upwards because of his, that's just the philosophy of Plato, the ideal world. Everything that exists in the world is a consequence of a perfect idea, a perfect metaphysical idea, and everything in the world is shaped to that idea. And then you have, obviously, Aristoteles pointing downwards. You have Diogenes, and then of course with its helmet, Alexander the Great. The feeling that I oftentimes get on this trip is that you feel like you're just observing the world, that you're not really there. Is that a strange feeling? Is that a common feeling? I mean, I get it a lot. I'm just observing the world. Maybe because I'm totally socially isolated. I just realized that I was a bit pessimistic. Normally I'm not that pessimistic. I don't know what's wrong. I'm actually quite the optimist. I always think, everything will turn out fine. But in the end, I don't really have anything to lose. Which is, it has its upsides and downsides. It sounds a bit like what an edgy teenager would say, but in all reality, it's not really nice to have nothing to lose. I would much rather have something to lose. Having something to lose, it's much better than having nothing to lose. And when I die, then at least I have this fucking video. So you better watch it. You better you better enjoy it, man. I just arrived at Bologna Centrale. I'm going to go to my camp spot that I scoped out on Google Maps. I'm gonna get my shit and stash my shit.
Accertamento dell'autorità giudiziaria in seguito all'investimento di una persona.
Okay, I just got off the bus. They're dropping me off at the edge of Bologna. Yeah, I was a bit scared because I saw like homeless encampments in a bush that I wanted to sleep in, but then I just waited on the bus to take me a little further, and there's like a quite nice nature reserve forest area that doesn't have any signs of human activity. And there's a reason why, because it's close to the Carabinieri police station, and I have to walk a bit. And then we're gonna get in those bushes, and it's close to the Carabinieri, so the chance of getting robbed or a homeless person sleeping there is quite low. I hope so, which is good, because homeless people, yeah, it's always the same kind of people. It's always people that are on drugs, or it's just, yeah, you're just annoying bastards, really. So, but you can see, it's just a nature reserve here, and you can see that there isn't any human activity here, so that is actually pretty marvelous indeed. Let's go. Oh wait, no, I'm gonna do my entry here behind this bush. Okay, and just as I was about to go, there comes a car, so we're just gonna wait a bit. There's another car. Yeah, I don't really give a shit. What are they gonna do? Okay, I'm just gonna make my entry here. Let's go! Over this barrier. I hope I don't rip my pants, because it's the only pants I got. Let's go! Let's go. Okay, I'm in. Nice. Okay, there's a house right there, but I don't really think anyone is going to bother me. It's only for one night. Actually, this is like the perfect camping environment. Okay, I found a spot. I'm just gonna be next to the roads. Also, there's like a direct line of sight of those buildings onto me. Onto my camp spot. And honestly, I don't really mind, because even if they call the police, I'm just gonna say, right, at 6 a.m. I'm gone and I'm only a camper. And I think the Italian police is not going to be so difficult about that. So yeah, just look at how I look like. I don't look like a bloody criminal or anything, and I'm just gonna be honest with them. I am honest. So if the police just know that you don't have any malicious intent, then they're just going to be okay with it, I think. Except if you're in Germany. Don't backpack Germany, bro. I have to remember my camping spot, and that is, yeah, of course I'm taking photographs on Google Images, but it's just between that pole and that pole. I'm going to remember, because at night, man, it's so easy to get disorientated. I hope those people will leave me alone right there, but I think they will. Come on, I look like a good guy. Yeah, why am I talking like I'm not a good guy? Come on. Yeah, also a pro tip: buy one of these buffer jackets that you can put in a bag, because that's really practical. I just tie it to my belt, and I can just walk around freely. Yeah, it's really practical, because I always have a warm jacket at hand. So, okay, I'm just going to try to sneak out of here very stealthily. can see, here's my entry point. I'm just gonna sneak out here like nothing happens. Alright. Oh, that's quite sharp. I hope I don't cut my hand open. Alright, and we're out. Okay, I arrived in Bologna. And I had to pass through like some ghettos people that have oh fuck, there's a lot of noise. That have like set the trap, because I can notice that they're like with 10 guys. They're always wearing PSG tracksuits. That's a good way to recognize ghetto people in Europe, is PSG tracksuits or tracksuits from Marseille. Yeah, on the streets of Bologna. Bologna is quite nice, especially the old town. It feels nice to have showered, to be fresh today. It was well worth the 30 quid, but it was called a youth hostel, but there wasn't like a lot of youth right there. There were like, my room was filled with 5 guys that were like 35 years old, 40 years old. So I was like, what are you doing in a hostel, man? Yeah, this is Bologna. Looks really cool. It's Monday, so everything is closed. I'm just going to find out what the hell I'm gonna do today. But I just picked Bologna for Monday because there's actually a lot of things to see in the old town. So I won't get bored. Anyway, but maybe I shouldn't judge other people for being ghetto, because look at me. I have my dad's old army sweater on from 1980. I have the 1st century AD headgear on, because my head is so burned. I already said that, but it's just I took inspiration from the New Testament. I think Bologna is probably the most beautiful and aesthetic city of Italy. At least that's what I'm thinking, like these archways and shit. I know that they're like famous for that, but when you're actually here, it's every corner, every street is just a postcard, man. What is this? So when I was buying my shit in the shop, I heard some people speak Dutch. I knew they were from Belgium because I can hear the accent, but I also heard they were from a region of Belgium that I didn't really like, and I know if I was about to talk to them, they would just tell me to fuck off anyway. So I'm gonna look at some old Egyptian and Etruscan shit, which should pass the time till I get back to my camp. I always find mummies fascinating because they thought they were just going to lie in their coffin for the rest of time until they withered away, probably. But now they're being gawped at by tourists behind the glass. Whoa. A bit of an update. I feel like absolute shit. I've become sick because I've been having a shitload of diarrhea now, and yeah, I'm just gonna go back to my campsite and call it a day. Okay, I'm walking down this road to my campsite. It is the most dangerous road in all of Bologna because you can't see the cars coming, and they are coming really fast. I have only, oh god, this patch of grass to stand on. Okay, I'm just going to cross the road. Oh god. Deutsch, ich spreche kein.
You need the tape?
Yeah, I just pressed on the stop recording button. Damn it! I should have kept filming, but they asked me to give me a lift.
Okay, I just woke up here in Bologna. I'm so happy I didn't forget my fleece hat.
Okay, just got out of my tent and woke up here in Bologna, on the outskirts of Bologna. And it is absolutely freezing. Well, not absolutely freezing. Yeah, it is freezing. I think it froze last night because there's frost on my backpack. So, yeah, it was quite chilly. I just woke up at 3 a.m. freezing my balls off. And thankfully I have this jacket, this lightweight travel jacket that I thought, yeah, I'm just gonna carry it around. And I could just stay just nearly warm enough to get me through the night, it was actually quite a peaceful sleep. No wild animals, no ghetto ass people, and a nice clean field. What more do you want from a campsite, right? Okay, I now packed all my shit. I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. Remember, always leave no trace when wild camping, respect nature. Okay, so it's a 1 hour walk all the way to the train station. Look how beautiful it is. Despite it being absolutely fucking freezing. You can see my breath, so, and it's the 8th of April right now. But yeah, it's a 1 hour walk to the train station because I need to catch a train. Or I can take the bus for free, which I did yesterday. So I think I'm going to go for the latter option. Let's get my fucking shit and let's go to Firenze or Florence. Okay, now I hope that none of the carabinieri or Italian police spot me when I go over this fence. Well, what are they gonna do? I'm leaving anyway, so let's get the fuck out of here and don't cut myself on this rather sharp metal railing. Oh shit. Alright. Yeah, I did get a solid like 6-7 hours of sleep. And I saved another 50 bucks. 50 euros, come on man, I'm not a bloody American. The thing about this trip, I was about to say these kinds of trips, but it's my first trip that I've done so far, where I've done this, is that you do get a kind of lonely because you do not speak a lot to other people. But I'm quite used to that actually. I'm actually quite used to being by myself, being alone, so it's not really that bad to me. Like loneliness, they say loneliness is bad, but it's only bad in the first year, and then your mind just hardens, you know. Then your mind hardens, you get used to it, and then you think about all the cool shit you could do, like this. You see, I told you I was an optimist. I told you I was an optimist, man. Then you think about all the cool shit you can do, that you don't need other people. Of course, having good friends is way better than having no friends, but having no friends is better than having really bad friends that have a bad influence on you. That is just, I believe that's a good axioma. I don't know how you say it in English. In Dutch it's an axioma. I knew when I was back in high school, if someone didn't know to speak English, they were considered like a retard or something. We would talk about it in the hallways. Oh, do you know Karen from class? She doesn't even know what the word for purple is. Yeah. But then in Dutch, paars. She didn't know that. How did she Go on, how can you beat the level? How can you not know English as a Dutch speaker, because all the video games were in English? How could I otherwise know how to defeat the first level of Medal of Honor Frontline on the PS2, man? I hope I'm gonna be able to get on a bus, because I do a lot of walking on these trips, and I would like to reserve my strength for when I'm walking around in Firenze, in cities itself, instead of like walking from back into my campsites. Jesus Christ, it's early in the morning. I just got off the bus. I have 1 hour to go till my train to Firenze. Apparently, I never paid for buses here. I don't really think. I never see the local Italians here pay for buses, so well, I'm not gonna do that either. I'm not dumb, right? But you do need to pay for like metro. Metro is a bit more checked, but buses, it's like practically free transport, right? And I'm gonna get some bread. I was afraid that I got sick from that shit piss bush in Torino, but apparently that was not the case, which I'm very pleased about indeed. As you can see from that church, the Catholic faith is really quite strong here in Italy still. In comparison to Belgium, where it's just, it's the lost generation. It's like the generation of the people that were born in the Second World War. They are still going to church, but people born in the 60s, the boomers, they don't go anymore. But in Italy, you can still see some, the younger generation going to church services in the morning. So that was quite interesting to see. Okay, I've arrived in Florence. I'm now going to find a place to stash all my shit. Wait, I forgot to say, there was also a guy from Belgium, from Flanders, that lived quite near to where I lived, and which wasn't from a region that I didn't like. And I tried to strike up a conversation with him, but he was reading his book, or he was studying his book. Also a really boring subject. I tried to make fun of the subject, but he was a kind of a serious guy, so... Yeah, maybe I've read too many 19th century novels where people strike up conversations in a train. Because that were, novelists of the 19th century loved trains as a setting, as a scenery. Because you can introduce all kinds of characters that don't know each other. It's a really interesting setting, but now we live in a modern age where everyone is on their phone or talking to a camera like I'm doing. That should do it. Okay, I decided to drop my shit in the storage locker, but it's €10.50 for an entire day, and fuck that, I ain't paying that. So I just found a spot here and just put my shit here. It's the only people that come here are like Americans and English people, so they're not gonna steal my shit, man, or Asians from fucking China. So, man, I sound so racist in this video, actually. That's also the reason why I came to Florence, is to talk about mass tourism, because as you can see, this square with the Basilica Santa Maria Novella is just littered with tourists. How do you tackle it? Because you can't, what are you gonna do? You're going to forbid certain nationalities to come here? You're gonna impose a tourist tax? People are still gonna come anyway. So, and it also contradicts our democratic values that all people are equal and that you can go wherever you like. It's against liberty. So our basic liberal democratic values. So it doesn't look nice. You want to have, when you go to a city, you want to be immersed in the local tradition. You want to be surrounded by locals and not just by other tourists. It really detracts from the overall experience, in my opinion. For instance, when I'm in Turkey, I want to be surrounded by Turks and not by Germans. Although I like the Germans, no offense to the Germans, but I want to be surrounded by Turks in Turkey. I want to be surrounded by Bulgarians in Bulgaria. I want to be surrounded by the local culture, but in Italy that's quite difficult to do, especially in this tourist hotspots. It's good for the economy, but it kind of ruins the overall experience. That you wouldn't have to deal with that when you would travel here back in the 1960s. But then again, if you forbid certain nationalities from visiting certain places, like in Venice, Firenze, then it only becomes a thing to do for the rich. It only becomes an activity for the elite. And is that what we want? Is that what we want? Do we only want people from a higher social economic status to be able to visit these cities? Because that was the case in the past, especially in the 50s, 60s. Nobody traveled. But when cheap airplane tickets became available in the 1970s, then all of a sudden all people from especially the lower middle class and the middle classes were able to travel. And that is what we have today. Now we have this mass tourism. Another thing I noticed is the Italian breakfast, which isn't the greatest. They only eat sweet pastry kind of things, which make me sick. I want some bread. I want brood, man. Brood. That is what I want, real bread. Not sweet pastries in the morning. It makes me feel sick. Anyway, I'm gonna stop complaining because I really sound like a bitch, man. I really sound like an absolute pussy on these videos. I have nothing to complain about. I have a nice big river, the Arno, I believe. I have the Ponte Vecchio right there. Things could be way worse on a Tuesday morning. Okay, I've gone away from all the tourists and I've come to the Basilica Santa Maria del Carmine here in Florence, hidden away because there's one important reason why I came here, and that is to look at the frescoes by a very famous Renaissance artist named Masaccio. So yeah, it's open every day except Tuesday, and guess what day it is? It's bloody Tuesday, so I won't be seeing any frescoes by Masaccio. Right there is Michelangelo's crucifix. You have to pay €2, but I'm not paying jack shit because I can just look at the crucifix from here, and it's free. Because I'm a cheap bastard. Yeah, I got to look at the crucifix for free, but just when I stopped the recording button, the lady came to me and said, "You need to pay, get out." And I just laughed at her and said, "I'm Catholic, I can look at it whenever I want." And then she said, "You're so unrespectful." And I was thinking to myself, well, it's pretty unrespectful to charge me €2 to look at a damn crucifix. What would Jesus Christ think of that? Yeah, charging me €2 for a damn crucifix of Michelangelo. I'm not doing that. But that's because we're in a very touristy area. And you're being, well, it's an expression in French, and I call it the presse de citron. The lemon press. Like every last bit of money is being squeezed out of you to look at things. I really hate that about touristy areas, but yeah, what are you gonna do about it? Also, charging people €2 to look at a crucifix is against the Bible, because in the Bible Jesus actually went into a church where the Jews, or a synagogue where the Jews had they placed stores in the church, and Jesus Christ came in and he said, "You will not have economic activities in the church." So charging people to look at a crucifix is actually directly against Catholic doctrine. Yeah, I'm at the Uffizi Art Gallery, and this is the line, and it goes way back there. Apparently reduced tickets is only for university students that study like arts and stuff like that, but fuck that, I ain't studying that. I don't want to be unemployed when I finish college, so it's only when you're 24. So when you have had your 25th birthday, then you also don't get the reduced ticket. So I'm fucked. And I told the lady, like, come on, I study real estate. That's like kind of the same, right? But only more useful, and I have a better chance of employment. But she didn't really find that funny. So the only real way to visit the Uffizi is when you book online in months in advance, so you can skip the line. Otherwise, I wouldn't really recommend it anyway. Let's get the fuck out of here and let's find some other shit to do, and let's not get screamed at by ladies that want to charge me €2 for a damn crucifix. So yeah, what is my opinion on Firenze? Well, it's definitely aesthetically pleasing, but I definitely feel like a piece of fucking cattle in this city. I just want to get the fuck out of here. There are way better cities in Europe, like Berlin, München, Düsseldorf, Duisburg. No, I'm joking. Apparently the only people that inhabit Firenze are tourists. I haven't seen any locals or heard any Italian. I wish I just stayed in Torino for a bit longer, because that city actually looks pretty cool, but I haven't got the chance to see it, which is a real shame. You can't really blame the locals for being a bit unfriendly, like that lady. Because again, if you don't want tourists, tell me to fuck off and then I won't come. But I won't tolerate any bullshit, because it kind of gets on my nerves. One guy at work told me I was a selfish asshole. And then I just told him, well, if you think I'm a selfish asshole, why don't we go outside and fight? Yeah, he didn't want to do that. That just shows you that a lot of people, they like to be unrespectful but really can't back it up. Yeah, I noticed that a lot in life. A lot of people talk a lot of shit, but in the end, when you challenge them to a fight, they usually back off. Basilica Santa Maria del Fiore. Hope I can get in, because I don't want to wait in line. You have the usual shit. You have your touts, you have your way too expensive like bars that are clearly tourist traps, but are always full of dumb tourists. Okay, I decided to sit down at some park because I'm tired of damn sightseeing. I went to a shop, yeah, not a shop, a cafe to buy some food. Came to €7.50 and I was very skeptical at the lady. I spoke my broken Italian. Io posso il conto questo è tutta shit like that. I don't know, I don't speak Italian. And she said $7.50. I ate a sandwich and a coffee. I said $7.50, what the fuck? Why is that so? Yeah, it's not abnormally expensive, but for Italian terms it's quite expensive. Yeah, I was near the central train station in Firenze. And I asked, yeah, je peux voir le ticket in French? Because I'm just a bastard, I just speak French to the Italians. You know, we shouldn't do that. And she was shocked and in awe that I dare question her authority. But better that people think I'm an asshole than getting ripped off, so. But yeah, I forgot to mention that when you order al banco, then you don't have to pay a fee, and when you sit down on a chair you have to pay €2.50. I don't know the Italian word for it right now, but always say al banco and stand up and drink your coffee and eat your shit at the counter. Okay, I've arrived at the Palazzo Pitti. Apparently they have like modern art here, so no, it's going to be shit. I just hate modern art. My parents used to drag me to Castle Documenta. It's like one of the biggest, I think the biggest modern art fair in the entire world. Yeah, modern art is most of the time pretty shit, so don't even try bother looking at it or visiting modern art installations, because yeah, it's just one big money laundering scheme in my opinion, or just some, yeah, it is just modern art in my opinion is just the idea transcends actual artistic not creativity, but skill, artistic skill. I was laying on the sides of this palazzo thing. I don't know, I'm just laying around, I'm bloody tired, and I was thinking to myself like, wow, I'm 25 years old now. At my age, like guys in the past, they would ride on horseback, they would conquer enemy territories, they would die in great battles like the battle at Cannae and shit like that, Lake Trasimene, all the great battles in history. And now I'm just doing absolutely jack shit. I don't know, I think that's just an interesting thought, you don't know? But that's interesting, right? The modern world, like what are we supposed to do? Even war isn't, you can't even glamorize war anymore because we have body cams like those guys in Ukraine. And you can see them just freezing their balls off in some trench while they are getting kamikaze droned or getting wounded by mortar fire. So even war doesn't seem cool, because in the past, well, you could romanticize going to war, like in the First World War, or like in ancient times you would just stand side by side with anyone in formation. You would be close together as a group and die as a group. But now modern war just seems that extra more scary. So even war doesn't seem attractive anymore. So that is a problem with society, I think, the lack of danger. And maybe that's why I've done this trip, to fill this sense of lack of danger in my life. Well, it's only sleeping outside. I don't know, it's not really a war. It's not really dangerous, you know. Well, it could be dangerous, but that's the closest thing I'll ever get to it, I think. So, but as the question of modern day life, like how are we going to fill that hole? Man, your fucking guess is as good as mine, man. There we have the obvious Moroccan scammers. When you step onto those paintings, they're gonna ask you for money, the classic scam. So that was the end of my stay in Firenze. Nice aesthetic city, but way too touristy, way too crowded. Maybe in winter, in low season, it's better. Uffizi is, yeah, you can't visit without online tickets. I'm going to go to the bag deposit office thing and hope that my shit is still there, that no one stole it. That would really suck. At the last day of my trip, my shit gets stolen. But I have confidence in the American and English tourists. Oh shit. Okay, I was worried because the door was closed, but I pressed the call button and the guy at the, yeah, he was quick to answer and he opened the door. My bag is still here. I knew I could trust it. arrived at Pisa, central station in Pisa, where I'll be taking my Ryanair flights. Oh, how nice. And I'm just gonna ride out the last few hours or the last day, because it's like 11 p.m. and my flight is my flight is at 9 a.m. the next morning, so I'm gonna ride at the last few hours at the airport.